Okay, sorry, my screen was dark for a bit, so I had to be patient so it comes up. All right, thank you everyone again for joining this session. So we'll just proceed right away. I'll be calling on our speaker shortly from now, but let's hover around a little bit on the theme for this particular session, which is launching your tech career. All right, um so I think this particular theme would really help a lot of us. If you're a newbie and you've always been asking, how do I get started with tech? I mean, there's so much out there. It makes everything look so complex, and you're just today you want to do data analysis, tomorrow you want to do Python, next tomorrow you want to do cyber security. You're not really focused on what you really want. Trust me, at the end of this session, I am very sure that one or two persons would have what's the word, but would be fulfilled, at least would have a little pathway on how you can get started, how you can launch your tech career. So let's like I said, let's hover a little on this topic. So this session is not a come and listen session. It's going to be an interactive session, so I want you to keep as many questions as possible. If you're a newbie, if you're into tech but not full, you've not had full grounds on it yet, please keep as many questions as possible, because we're ready to take all of them in this particular session. So I want you to make sure that you're jotting down your questions, you're making this session as interactive as possible. For the experts in this room today, if you have contributions or suggestions or anything you feel that would be helpful to our newbies, please do well to chip in the chat or raise your hand and we'll call you to speak. But please, let's work together to make this session an interesting one, an interactive one, and trust me, it promises to be an exceptional one. So I would just ask a few people here before I call on our speakers. I'll just ask few people to talk a little bit on this topic, launching a tech career. Just maybe you can give us ways on how we can launch our tech career, ways on how we can stay focused in the tech career instead of jumping, wanting to do too many things, and then you're frustrated that nothing is really working. So I'm just going to call a few people. I'll start with Samuel Ekele. Are you free? Are you able to speak? Please, can you give us a little roundtable talk on this particular topic? Just something brief. You don't need to say so much. Hi, Samuel. Hello, Samuel.
Yes, good afternoon, Joy.
Yeah, please, I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I lost connection briefly.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Um, sorry, I didn't get the last thing you said.
Yeah, I was saying that you should just give us a round table talk, just briefly, on what it is to launch your tech career.
Okay. Um, Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samuel Ekele, and I'm with the DevOps and Infrastructure team. And to launch your career successfully in tech, there are fundamentals that you need to put into consideration. Your zeal for tech, that's number one. And when you have that determination, actually to excel, because the tech landscape is actually challenging, right? But with determination, you can actually go through. So the first thing, I discovered that it's not something that people mentors can do for you without your effort, your personal effort as well, right? So I think determination is key in tech, and you need to have like accountability partner, somebody that you can be accountable to, somebody that will ask you questions, and somebody that will guide you through the right path, because there are so many noise on the internet telling you this is the best today, this is the best tomorrow, and you find it's become confusing. You don't even know which path to choose, right? So getting somebody to tell you that this is what you need to focus on, this is the step to take, starting up, you have so many people taking one thing, learning this today, learning another one halfway, and then jump to the second one, and then at the end of the day, they end up in the middle of nowhere, right? So having somebody to tell you, okay, this is what you need to do next, it makes the journey easier for you, right? And then for me, I think that's what work actually.
Thank you so much. That's really awesome. Thank you so much. So I also just want to recognize some people here, and I've seen Mr. Olusheyi, who is also the team mentor for PMO Bincom Dev Center. So I would like to call him to come to the floor and then just give us a little roundtable talk on this topic, launching a tech career. Please, sir, I would like to hear your voice a bit.
Okay, good morning, team. Good morning, everyone. How's our weekend going? I hope you can all hear me. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, great. Sorry, I wasn't so sure since I didn't get any response. Okay, so fine. Great weekend to all of us. So launching into a tech career, basically, sometimes it can be by accident, sometimes it can be by being intentional about it. I am a digital project manager. I got into tech by accident. Will I say by accident? Yeah, because I studied architecture in school, but my first work was with a technological company then, a technology company in Lagos. And from there, I went on to work in telecoms. From telecoms, I went to work up in a startup. From startup, I went back into project management with a smart home company. And now I'm back into tech again. I'm working with a digital technology company making product. So sometimes it's by accident, sometimes it can be intentional. But for most of you young guys coming up now, it might be intentional. You already know what you want to do. In our days, we didn't have mentors, we didn't have coach, we didn't have, there was internet, but there wasn't so much resources that you guys have now. So you guys have a whole lot of resources that can make you be intentional about whether you want to get into tech or not. Then there are a whole lot of pathways also in front of you that you can use into getting into tech. You can be a founder, you can be an employee, you can go from an employee to becoming a founder. Then there are visa routes you could take also that, okay, fine, Nigeria is not working for me. I want to go to a more conducive environment where I can start up my own startup and some other stuff. So it's wonderful being in tech, working in digital technology company, and I hope you guys make the most of it and you keep learning. That's one thing about this. You need to keep learning. Right now, I'm learning how to use, not even how to use, I'm learning how to be a UX designer. Not because I want to get the job as a UX designer, but because I want to have a more feel of it and the way they think, all through the research, the brainstorming session, the ideation session, and all that. So that, yeah, I'm doing project management, but I want to have a better understanding of the product I'm managing through the stages. So you just have to keep learning, and that's why at Bincom Dev Center we have the knowledge development, which is very key. I just joined you guys at Beep Them, but I'm getting hang of it and I'm getting better by the day in how to find my way around. So I wish you guys the best. Thank you very much for the moderator.
Thank you so much, sir. It's nice to meet you, and I'm sure everyone is excited to have you on board. Hi,
Same here.
Moji. I see your hand up. Do you want to say something so we can proceed?
Can you hear me? Yeah. Good
Yes, I
morning.
can hear you.
Good morning, everyone. So just to a question. I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of running into the time because I guess there will be a time for that. But I just want a quick question from what Mr. Sodia has just said. Now he said he got into tech by accident, so, and I understand. And maybe it's not just about, even though he got into tech by accident, he's not staying in tech by accident. So what is the motivation behind the accidental entering into tech? Staying into tech, was it the money? Was it the desire? Was it like intentional, as you mentioned? What keeps him going? I know there might be time for questions for this, but I would just like to understand, why is he staying in tech even though he got into it by accident?
Okay, so should I go ahead and answer him if you
Yeah,
have
I
the
think
time?
we'll just take that. Yeah, then we can proceed after that.
Okay, okay. So when I say by accident, at a point in time when I started working, I was in 2001. I was working at an architectural firm, and I got a friend that was working in IT, and it was like, they had an opening, and they needed somebody that was good with visuals, AutoCAD, and some other stuff. And it was like, okay, fine, would you come for the interview? So I went, and funny enough, I wasn't the one that they wanted to choose. In Nigeria, you always have your own candidate, but I performed so well, and they had to take me. So it was by accident because one, it wasn't my field. Then two, the money was, what I was going to earn was like times six the amount I was earning in the architectural firm. So for me, the money was an allure also. So yeah, you were right about that. Money was a factor. Then the work I was doing, then I got to travel a lot and all that stuff. IT technology was just starting then in Nigeria. That was the days of, if you've heard of Resourcery and Telnet and those companies before we had InterSwitch and Co. So it was in its nascent days and everything was just coming up. So those days were really quite interesting. So that's basically how I got into it. So, but I didn't stay in it by accident. I stayed in it because I enjoyed it. After spending like 5 years in Resourcery, that's the name of the company. I went to Telecom V Mobile, and I enjoyed my time in telecom because I got to know about GPRS, data, value added service, and all that stuff. Before I now went to a startup that was started in Nigeria by the NASPAS group. We were doing an online directory there, and they did it Daily Deal platform. So I stayed in it not by accident. It became intentional for me because I enjoyed it. It was something I enjoyed doing. It was passion. I like PC. I like the internet and all that stuff. I can virtually set up my own PCs and all that stuff from the experience I had working in my first company anyway. So it's more of maybe because I'm a hands-on person anyway. I enjoy putting things together and all that stuff. That's just it. So I hope that answers you. So if you want me to elaborate further, if you have any specific questions.
No, that's fine. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you so much for that question, Moji. Thank you so much, Mr. Lucia, for giving us a very good answer to that question. And I'm sure everyone has picked one or two from that conversation. Okay, so we'll move into what we have for today, and I'll be calling on our speakers right now. So I'll be calling our first speaker, and our first speaker is Mrs. Comfort Odafe. She is the Pro Services Lead in Bincom Dev Center. She's also a product manager and a project manager. So please use your reaction and let's give a round of applause as we call on our first speaker for this session.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you, everyone. Good day to all of us from any country we found ourselves today. Please confirm you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you very much for the confirmation. And thank you very much for the speakers and the questions that have come in earlier. It's a good start. And while we were discussing and while we were sharing our thoughts about this topic, a lot of things pop up. And I'm being like, wow, at some point, it's like we have the same spirit as a techie. And techie, we have techie in different departments, different aspects. So we have the coding one, we have the business techie. And we all think the same way. Fortunately for us, the two speakers are the two contributors that spoke earlier. Someone is in the business tech, and the other person is in the coding tech. And our spirit is just so sync. So I will start from what they've said and things like that. So while they're talking, there's some illustrations that came to my mind, and I would like to share it before we move on into the discussion of launching a tech career. Someone mentioned tech career is not, it's not beans. Let me just put it that way. It's not beans. It is not easy, but your consistency, your putting your effort into it. I think there's the consistency and your zeal. If you are so determined, you are going to get there. Now, if you're moving from your house, wherever you are at the moment, to another destination, it will take every one of us, it will take you some amount of effort to move from where you are to where you are going. It's the same thing with tech. In where you are at the moment, you have it in mind, okay, I want to move from here to the next compound. The idea will stuck to your mind. And before that idea gets stuck to your mind, you have a reason, okay, I'm going to the next compound to visit somebody. It must have a purpose. And is this purpose that is pushing you from where you are at the moment to the next compound? That's an effort. An effort of thinking, sinking your mind to the reason, the purpose, and lifting yourself from where you are. Moving is an effort. A lot of obstacle will be on your way. You find the gate. It's an obstacle. You will open the gate and pass through. It's an effort. You need to move your weight. It's not easy to move weight. We are not 1 kg. None of us here is 1 kg. You need to move your weight on your feet. And you need to move towards that direction. In a situation where you have to transport yourself, you have to use your fund. You sweat for that fund to get that money, even if it's 1 naira, even if it's $1, you sweat for that money to transport yourself to where you are going. It's an effort. And when you get to where you're going, you've seen who you want to visit, then mission accomplished. Then you need to think again, I need to go back to my house. This is the same journey we are talking about. It's you launching your tech career, you need to have this mindset, okay, I have a purpose. This is what I am going for. This is where I am going. Then another illustration I want to give is a child. Every one of us on this call, we've once been a day-old child. And gradually, from a day-old, we become a crawling baby, a toddler, an adolescent, and young adults, and things like that. Depends on the ages of people here. We did not just, mom didn't just birth us like this. We started the journey. And the journey is from you getting milk, you sucking milk, to you eating some fleshy meat or fish, and very soon you start cracking bones. This is the same journey that happens in tech. If a child is not being conceived, if the child is not in the womb, there is no way we can conceive, there's no way we can birth that child. So for those that are just diving into tech, you are in the womb, you just want to get into the womb and going through some incubation, and you start, we birth you and start growing and things like that. So all this being put together requires an effort, and it's going to be a deliberate effort. Whether you like it or not, you just have to grow. And someone that doesn't grow, a child that is not eating, is not feeding well, what happens? It's either the person has a deficiency, or the child just had to go back, as in like maybe go back to the grade or die, something like that. Now, this is the illustration I want to bring into our topic this morning. I'm sorry, this afternoon, from the country I am at the moment. So, launching a tech career. Some of us on this call are new and are new to tech. We are looking at, oh, yeah, I've been hearing about this tech and things like that, but I don't know how to dive into it. Now, that means for you to be hearing about tech, something has enticed you, something has, you have this particular interest that, oh, I really want to test this thing. It's more like someone mentioned a delicacy now, Nigerian jollof. You've not tasted Nigerian jollof before, and someone just announced, oh, Nigerian jollof, it is this, it is that, it is that. They are telling you the sweetness, the end product, not telling you the process to get that Nigerian jollof on your desk, in your plate. Before it gets to your plate, it needs to go through a particular process. If the process is not being done properly, you would not get a very sweet Nigerian, it won't be Nigerian jollof actually. If the process is being stopped halfway, or maybe you just pick some spices and leave some other spices to make it up Nigerian jollof, you still not achieve the end result. This same effort is what I want us to picture as we move on in this tech career. So if you are new in tech, looking at, okay, I just want to dive into tech, how will I start? I've heard about Python, I've heard about cybersecurity, I've heard about project management, product management. They are whole suite. Which one should I go for? That's I'm congratulating you for being on this call today. And if you're able to complete, as in, I believe a lot of things, you get a lot of knowledge while you're on this call from the speakers and those that are going to be contributing, even those that have contributed already. And for someone that is just thinking, okay, I've been in the industry, not the industry, other industry, and I'm being like, this passion that is boiling in me that I think tech is a place for me. You have been in the banking industry, health sector, and things like that, and you feel, okay, I want to dive into tech. How will I go about it? Congratulations. This session is going to give you a more insight on how to start and how you're going to be successful in the journey. Also, for someone that is already into tech, but at some point you're feeling like, oh, it's frustrated, I'm confused, I don't even know where I am, what should I do, what next? Congratulations also. This is an avenue for you to find your purpose, to get a reason, to get a reason to be pushed forward and have clues and tips on how to move forward in this career. So I say congratulations to this set of people. I know the set you belong to on this call. So talking about tech, the beauty in tech, There are some things I can just pick that makes tech very, very beautiful, make tech kind of very different from some other sector. I'm not saying other sectors are not, but tech is very, very beautiful, very sweet. Looking at the high demand in technology today makes it very, makes opportunity to be increasing on a regular basis. So when opportunity is increasing on a regular basis, we need more techies in the system to meet up with this demand. And the more, as the demand is increasing and we're having more people, it's competitive. The price of having to employ a techie to attend to a digital product, it is not cheap. So techies earn higher salary. As in the money, someone mentioned money, you entered, our team mentor mentioned that he entered tech accidentally. Yeah, but something at first enticed him. That is the pay, the high salary. It's very, very important. Also, everybody, no one, I don't know if there's anyone on this call that doesn't like money, but really, human nature, we need funds, we need money, either any currency, we just need the money. So tech ecosystem is an avenue for you. You place yourself in a tech ecosystem, the salary there is very, very high, and it's a lucrative, that's its own lucrative benefits. Also, there are a lot of opportunities in tech, a lot of opportunities. You want to talk about software engineering, you want to talk about data analysis, cybersecurity, product management, and so many more. We have diverse opportunity, and we also need to keep learning. With all this importance of tech career, who would want to hear all this and would not want to dive into it? And I believe one or two, or everything I've just mentioned about tech has driven one or two people to want to dive into tech as of today. Some even really want to dive into tech because they know they can do, they can work remotely, hybrid, with tech, with tech skill, or tech career. And talking about coding and programming, cybersecurity, if you want to think around it, you are trying to dive into tech. Okay, I've seen the beauty, and I'm hearing a lot of, oh, come and do coding, come and do cybersecurity, come and do cloud computing, come and do data analytics. A lot of things are coming up. Your own is to look at your strength. What's my strength? What are my weaknesses? Look deep into yourself. What are the things I enjoy doing that I don't just get tired of it? Now, I started, let me give a short story. Okay, someone started academically in the economics. I studied, let me say someone. I studied economics in school, and well, economics, and we just keep going and things like that. Before I get to that level of studying economics, I grew up to, there was really no laptop that time. There was no laptop that time. In fact, let me just say I had not, maybe there was laptop, I don't know, but I don't think I've seen laptop that time. So, but one of my older cousins came to dump a hunchback computer. I don't know, some of us may not know hunchback as in real hunchback, that one person may not even be able to carry it. Apologies. One person may not be able to carry it by themselves. So dump it in my parents' house. I've been passing out, I will see this. Why is this thing here? It looked like a big television. How is this thing here? Said the person that wants it is not really useful for that person, and he's not getting what he needs from it. So the person just dump it. Maybe the speaker is not fine. They just give series of things that is not working fine on that system. So I will go and come, I'll be seeing this thing. I just put it on one day, put it on, I just started playing around it. There was nothing like, I didn't even know internet then. So I was just playing around it. And I'll just press this one to open. So it might take ages for it to open. Any app you press, it will take like 10, 15 minutes before such thing will open because it will hang. And I just kept on playing around this system. I didn't know the name then, that the name was supposed to be desktop. Can you hear me? All right, so I kept playing around the system, the Hunchback, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I'll play with CorelDRAW, I'll play with Microsoft Offices, I'll play with Excel, I'll play with PowerPoint. PowerPoint is my, it really interests me because I do a lot of display, and I switch into Microsoft Word. I started doing some designs on Microsoft. This thing is very interesting. In fact, I will see some calendars, I would build that calendar. I will be looking at calendar and build it on Microsoft. And this is how, I don't even know, they used to go for training this. And I began to fall in love with it. At a point, my dad was like, this thing you are doing, you can get trained though. Go to so place. That's what they do there. I went there, fortunately, and they were like, okay, I should start the training. The day I started the training, the day I was supposed to start the training was the day, instead of me to get trained, I started working for them. Because the person that wants to teach me self, I would be like, oh, this is what you are trying to do. And I would have just explained to him. He'd be like, okay, customer is coming here, type for this. In fact, I was even faster. Somehow I wasn't taught. So with this, I began to fall in love with computer, and I began to expand my scope. I began to see that, okay, the system at home doesn't have this app. This is what this app can do, and this is what this app cannot do. It's very interesting. And I didn't know anything about, there's coding, there is cybersecurity. I don't even know anything about project management then. All I just know is type, use Excel, PowerPoint, CorelDRAW. I didn't know that there are deeper things into it. Now, accidentally, let me use the word of the person that contributed it. Accidentally, after my economics school, I studied economics, so I was looking for a job that is going to be around the economics. But I find myself that I need to know that there is more to tech than just the peripheral I was looking at. There are deeper things. How is this thing rooted? How did this thing get there? How will I press this thing and the thing will process? And things like that. All those things, I feel like, okay, it's high time for me to know more than that. Just a moment, just a second. Okay, apologies for that. Can anyone still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
All right. So I started seeing a lot of things in tech that do this. I've done some jobs, and normally I am supposed to just go ahead with that job. Then I realized that, okay, going into tech, we need to think, what are the things I like doing? Do I like mathematics? Do I like figures? I love solving problems. I love solving problems. And that's one of my passions. I love solving problems. which of this, I don't really like figures. It's not that I hate figures. I don't really like figures like that. If you give me an option, I may not want to go for figures. But if there's no option, I don't have choice. I just have to dive into it. So I chose the aspect of the business tech. And this business tech so far, it's been something I enjoy. I have transferable skill, though I moved from education sector into tech. Now, merging education sector with tech, making it edtech as in edtech, it's really helped me. And even I am an HR, human resource manager. So all this all come together because they all have similar skills. And it doesn't seem so difficult to sync HR, education sector, and tech. It is not so difficult for me to sync them. And so far, it's been so interesting. No matter how stressed I am, the moment I see things that sorry, I'm getting a feedback. Can the host please do something? All right, thank you. So the moment I have this, I remember what pushed me here. It keeps me going. Anytime I notice, okay, these are my strengths. This is my strength. I'm seeing it, solving problems, having to be here for people, standing up for people, and helping users to get what they need and things like that. It inspires me. It makes me feel fulfilled. And this is one of the reasons I chose the business tech. That doesn't mean that I don't have to know anything about the coding, programming, cybersecurity, and every other thing. But at least my major interest and is being pursued. And this is what I would also advise for those that are just diving into tech, or you want to migrate from, you want to transition from the sector you are at the moment into tech. I would want you to look at it. What interests you? What's your interest? What is that thing that when you are doing it, when you're able to achieve it, it just gives you joy naturally. So there are some things that you will be doing that they would even be begging you to come and eat. Because that time, seriously, anytime I'm on the system, they beg. In fact, I would find it difficult to leave the system. Not to not talk of when I have internet. When I start getting exposed to internet, no, we just have to sit there. I don't get hungry like that. So what are the things you do naturally without stress? You need to think around it and see, okay, will it go for me coding and programming? Will it go for me if I dive into cybersecurity? There are a lot of skills in cybersecurity, talking about ethical hacking, risk management, network security. For coding and programming, you have Python, Java, SQL, JavaScript. As data analytics and machine learning person, you just look around W, Python, and so on like that. As a cloud computing, looking at AWS, your Azure, and Google Cloud, look around it. What are my strengths? Does my strength really will help me in this journey? Don't just jump into it because A said, coding is this for me, is that for me, B said this. What kept them in that particular choice they made may not keep you there. Don't look at another person's idea because this person is doing this, I have to do this. Don't look at it that way. Your strengths and weaknesses are different from that person's own. So you need to check yourself. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are the things I do without stress? What are the things I enjoy doing? Then look at all this tech career. Which of them has something related to this my strength, to this my hobby, and things like that? That would make it very seamless for you to get into tech and to keep pushing you. Like I tell you, it is not going to be easy. You need to just be determined, put much effort. And what are the efforts you need to put is the motivation behind you getting into that journey. If you leave the journey at midway and you say, okay, I'm at a level now. I don't like programming again. I want to go into cloud computing now. When you have baked, one. So there is a saying that don't be a jack of all trades. Yeah, you just be a master of one. You need to be a master in one. You need to be determined and be a master in one. So don't just start switching around and things like that. So if you want to be a software engineer, just know that you need to develop innovative around software solutions, web applications, mobile apps, and things like that. So just know your level, know what you want, and things like that. So now, okay, I want to go into tech. I don't have to study. No, you need to have some basic knowledge, maybe at least have, even if it's not BSc, just go have some knowledge on how you have some basic knowledge. Even if you don't have MSc, you can try to have BSc. If you don't have BSc, be knowledgeable, because you need to be able to read and write. You want to be a techie, you must be able to read and write, because you would communicate, whether by writing or by reading. Anyhow, you will communicate. So it will help your communication skills when you get into tech. Yeah, okay, I'm an introvert, I don't talk, and things like that. Maybe there's a tech skill or tech career that doesn't need talking. You would talk. You will talk. If you don't talk to your client, if you don't talk to your client directly, you will talk to your project manager or your product manager, so they can pass some messages across to your users or your stakeholders and things like that. You will talk to your team. You will communicate. How do you want to communicate if you can't read and write? So I would advise us, if you are just trying to think, okay, I'm going into tech, because I saw an interview one child. I think he was it 12 or 13, getting into the university. I was like, how? I said, I don't know how that child is going for matriculation. So someone can just wake up today and be like, oh, you don't have to read and write, just dive into it. It doesn't happen that way. So if you're on this call like that, you can't read and you can't write, I would advise you, getting into tech career will require you to be able to read and write, have some basic knowledge in the academic space. Now, some people will be like, oh, I have been learning, and like as you mentioned, I'm an HR, so I've heard a lot of things that, yeah, I've been learning this thing, I learned it for a year and I'm an expert in it. It doesn't happen that way. Tech regularly keeps expanding, as in new things keep evolving every now and then. You need to keep yourself up to date. You need to keep learning. Don't stop learning. The moment you stop learning, tech will leave you back. Tech is moving. It's moving, it's not staying. So as it is moving, you need to keep moving with it. Keep learning, keep adding to your skills, keep adding to your experience, keep adding to your exposure. Tech has no limit. So your learning also should not have limit, should keep expanding. So also, you trying to launch a tech career, you need to be dedicated to learning hard skill and learning your soft skill. Don't just drill down to, so far I've not known my hard skill, then I move on. Don't get it down to that. Try, if you're able to get some certification, is fine, but mostly make sure you gain some experience and you gain some exposure on that particular career you have chosen. Like I mentioned earlier, you need to be determined. Which one am I going into? Am I a business person, or am I a figure person? If I'm a figure person, you love figures, please just concentrate on things around programming, coding, data analytics. Please just stay there. But if you're someone that doesn't really like figures like that, you like business things, and look around digital marketing, look around project management, product management, service management, and others like that. That will help you. Now, when you have started doing this, always the more skills you get, as you are getting the skills, start building your portfolio. You don't have to wait till you have the whole knowledge to yourself. Start building your portfolio because that showcases every knowledge you have at some point. So you need to start with, okay, I learned this, I have acquired the skill now. Build portfolio to showcase this to whoever cares to see, whoever needs such skill. So also, I would also advise that you build your network. Build your network. I used to say this to people, not just in tech career, generally, wherever you find yourself. Everyone has come to your life, every situation, everybody, every woman has come to your life for a purpose. It may not be, the purpose might not be for now, it might be for the next future. Don't destroy relationships. Don't spoil relationships. Don't say, okay, I've gotten what I need from them, so this boss is nonsense, and this company is nonsense. They did this to me, they did that to me. This door you are breaking today might be the door you need to pass through to get to your destination tomorrow. So try as much as possible to keep your relationship intact, build your network, connect to communities. There are a lot of tech communities out there. They would help you because you're going to mingle, you're going to mix with like-minded people, and you will hear their story, you will hear their comments, you too, you comment, you contribute. While you are rubbing minds together, you are speaking the same language. You will definitely, that will encourage you to stay put in the, will help you in your journey. When you want to relent, you have ideas, suggestions, talks that pull you along. When you are being pulled along, while those that still have the strength, they give you more strength to push on, so you're able to get to the destination you are going. Also, find a mentor. While I was talking the other time, I mentioned about a mentor program that is being trying to introduce a mentor program. This is very, very interesting. While you are on a journey, you need someone that has passed through that path. The person that has passed through that path, that knows where there is ditch. Probably the mentor has fallen inside that ditch before. How was mentor able to get out of that ditch? It will help you, and okay, don't pass through that place. There's a ditch that could break your leg there. Maneuver it. There is a fence there. This is how you are going to climb the fence. This mentor is there for you. These are the things mentors are meant for. Don't think, oh, I am Gagabam. I can do anything. I can break walls by myself. The efforts you are going to use as a person to go through a hole without an expert will be more than when an expert is guiding you. Don't do it this way, but do it this way. The time you will spend on that particular issue would be lesser than if you have to struggle it, find a way by yourself. So look for a mentor. Find a mentor that is going to help you in that particular track that you have chosen. Then another thing for a techie, whether you're a coding tech or business techie, the major thing you should concentrate on is that you need to give back to the community. That is how you promote yourself. Give back to the community. If you are not a giver, you are keeping your talent. You are tech, you have to give back. When you give back to the community, it comes back to you in multiple fold. I'm not trying to use religious this thing here, but it will always come back to you in multiple fold. Give freely. Freely you are given, freely you'll be given back to. So give out to the community. It is very, very important. They ask you to come and speak in an event, to come and teach some students about something, feeling like, no, it has to be this. No, you're showcasing yourself. You were asked to respond. Some people are asking questions on your community, and you have the answer because you've gone through the process before and you know the answer, and you are feeling reluctant to even respond in your community. Please try as much as possible to give back in your community. Even the community you are, you can create discussions and things like that. Let people learn from you. You are showcasing yourself. And with this, and by this, you are, is one of the efforts you need to put to pushing yourself out there. No techie succeed hiding in his own room. That's just it. You need to go out there. You need to expose yourself. That skill you have, don't hide it. Some people doesn't even know they have skills. You have it. You just need to exercise it. Okay, come and do this. Oh no, I don't know how to do this. You give it a trial. Learn. Read more about it. You would be an expert in it. And by the time you be an expert in it, it is a skill plus one skill added to you. And it's going to be added to you. It's not added to the person that has to come and just for life. Even if you live where you are at that time, it will always be for your good. Now, at some point, okay, you're starting launching your career.
Yes, you are.
Is that for me? Okay. All right. So, trying to launch your career, you would have to get into some interview session. You need to search for job. You need to put yourself out there. After you have built your portfolio, put it out there. You will need to search for job. There are some criteria you need to follow. You just need to. You can get job through your connection, network connection. You can get it through online job. But if you are here looking for job, go to Glassdoor, go to LinkedIn, Indeed. Just make sure you pin your LinkedIn page. A lot of tech is here. I don't know. Some of us will say, I am not a social media, so I'm not a social media person. You have to be a social media person because tech, you need to expose yourself. That is where your clients are. That is where your employers are. That is where your those that need you. That's where they are. That's where they will come search for you. Like I'm saying that I am into there's computer village, right? And in computer village, you are looking for I want to buy vegetable. That's not their market. You go to computer village if you want to do anything computer. So same thing as tech. Position yourself where in your own market. And as a techie, please make use of Glassdoor, make use of Indeed, make use of LinkedIn, and make sure that you pimp your page very well, showcase all your skills. I don't know, this section may not be for us to talk deeper into how you pimp your page for job search. Maybe some other time we'll dive into it, but you need to go read more about it and tailor your CV to your particular role. Make sure you practice before you go for interview. Think about your transferable skill, even if you're just getting into tech and you have been in a particular business line before. Look at your transferable skill. Make sure you link them, you sync them to make it a flow into that choice of yours. So also emphasize your passion when you are during your interview. Emphasize your passion. Showcase your adaptability that you can learn. Exactly, we expect you to be able to learn, keep learning, unlearn some things, relearn, and just keep learning. So learning doesn't stop in tech, like I mentioned. And it is not a smooth journey. It is not a sweet journey. It will take effort. You spend money in acquiring data, even if someone is paying for your tuition, you have to buy data, you have to have light and things like that. To spend money is like you stress yourself to get something now just to have the beauty in the nearest future. Those that are earning in six figures or millions of naira or dollar or pounds in the tech industry today they didn't birth them into it. They went through a process. When you go through a process, it is always, if you're able to do it successfully, you are going to get good results at the end of the day. I was giving an analogy. Okay, I read an analogy. When you have a catapult, I know everyone on this, I believe everyone on this call should know what catapult is. When you want to shoot the catapult, you hold the catapult and draw the string back with the stone in it. You need to draw it back. It will take effort. It will take some stress. The farther it go back, when you release it, the farther the target, the farther the stone throw, the farther the stone will go. So if you're able to stretch yourself now, learn. It is not easy. I have to hold this overnight. It's killing my sleep. I have to do this. I have to get this done. By the time you keep doing that stress now, when you get to a level and you release the trigger, where you see yourself will be very, very far. You may not know what you have added to yourself today, but when the benefits start coming, you would see how huge it is. Someone as a techie is saying that in fact, as a techie, whether coding tech or business tech, you always need to solve a problem. You are there to solve a problem. That will be your that should be your vision statement. Just solve a problem. Just keep solving problems. If you are not solving a problem today, you need to ask yourself, what problem have I solved today? So always solve a problem. Let it be a key thing for you. Then keep upskilling, keep learning. And what are the strategies for you to continue learning? Assess and record your current learning practices. Always assess your current learning practices. Record it. Most of the time you can record it in your CV. Sometimes you can go on your LinkedIn and record your current practices. Record it on your profile. Okay, I'm learning this now. I finished this skill now. Add it. Communication skill added to what you have done. Keep adding it up. Before you know it, you realize that boom, you are very, very wide. And the more you pimp your LinkedIn, the more exposure, not just LinkedIn, your social media and your portfolio, the more you pin them, the more you expose yourself to the world. And when you expose yourself to the world, you're on top of your career. You're getting to the top. So then don't be a master of yourself. Don't be a soul man as a techie. Speak to peers. Discuss your learning gaps. Gather feedback from your colleagues. You have any challenge while coding or while trying to get users need and things like that. Discuss with your colleagues, whether in your workspace or in your community. Also, attend seminars and lectures. It is very, very advisable because you get to know some people. Networking is a benefit there. Get to know people, get to hear from other people in the tech community. It will always help. So seminars and lectures are very important. So develop the habit of continuous learning. Don't stop. The moment you stop learning, you stop growing in tech because tech will leave you. You're supposed to be moving with tech. So engage students using different means. Always engage students. So I just need to round up now. And while I want to round up, I want to put my human resources management into this. As a techie, we have this habit of not taking care of ourselves. I am pleading with everyone on this call, whether you're just trying to get into tech, don't get carried away by not taking care of yourself. You need to unwind. You need to exercise. You need to do other things just to keep you fit and be okay. We need healthy techies and on board. And always set boundaries. Establish clear guidelines for your working hours and responsibility. Okay, if I say I'm going to work from so-so time to so-so time, make it be like that. Also, you can also negotiate on it depends on the kind of organization you find yourself as a techie. Negotiate on probably working hybrid or sometimes remote. But if your work would not accept such, You just have to create boundaries on, okay, this is my resting time, and this is the time I'm supposed to work. Please, please, and please, for those that are into it already, don't get carried away. This will energize you. This will revitalize you. And when you have a refreshed mind, you will deliver more than what you think you deliver. Another thing is myself, when I get overwhelmed, I just have to finish this thing. You just have to get it done and things like that. And funniest thing, when you are stressed that time, you are not thinking well. Just take a break. Take a break. You can take a walk. You can just relax, rest your head. Maybe in the next 30 minutes, get back to you. You realize that what you have been trying to crack your brain for like 2 hours, you do it within 2 minutes. Give it a trial and you'll see what happens. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Bincom Dev Center, for the opportunity. A lot of opportunities being shown, and I believe that will be good. Bye. Thank you. Thank you, Joy.
Thank you so much for that, Ma. That was an awesome session. I'm sure we've learned quite a lot. We've learned that we should always upskill. Upskilling is very necessary. Learn to also take a break. Once in a while, you would be burnt out. Once in a while, you would be stressed. Learn to take a walk. Don't sit all day thinking you will learn or make that tech money by 24 hours. Don't expect that you would just watch one tutorial video and boom, you get that. You can be lucky now, but it's not the way. So it's not just one tech course you did and then you expect that you should miraculously get a high paying job. It doesn't work that way. You have to show some level of experience. So spend more time in doing more hands-on training, spend more time in practicing. Thank you so much for that, ma'am Comfort. We really appreciate that. That was an exciting session. All right, so I'll be bringing up our second speaker for today's session, and our second speaker is Mr. Bade, who is the CTO and co-founder of Social Lender. Please, sir, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, then. Hi, everyone, and thank you for having me in this edition of Bincom ICT Career Talk. My assignment is very simple, is to share a few of my thoughts around launching a tech career. And I'm hoping that we would have a fantastic time of question and answers, because I find that helps to answer people's questions. But I'm going to share a couple of things in terms of my own thoughts and some of the things that I believe that we should know as techies. Whether you're a newbie in the field, which means that you're just starting your journey, or you are somewhere in the beginner level, you've already started, you've learned a couple of things, and then you're building on those skills, or you're at the intermediate level, or you're at the advanced level in the field of technology. I believe that some of the things I will share would be useful for you. While starting, I wanted to just ask this question to say, how many of these trends are you familiar with? And once I get into my presentation, you probably will see why I'm asking that question. I would like you to drop a number in the chat to say, I'm about to share my screen, sorry. I would like you to drop a number in the chat to say how many of these are you familiar with? We're doing this session in April 2024. And these are trends in 2024 in the field of technology at the moment. There are 10 of them that a company has curated. And then I wanted to just find out for those of us on the call, I know some of us are already in the field of technology already, and some of us are just starting, or some are wondering, should I even join technology at all? Should I transfer to tech from my existing career? But how many of these trends that I'm showing on the screen are you familiar with? Have you heard of before? Have you even taken a look at generative AI? And there are quite a number of them that are there. So do a count and drop a number in the chat. I'm hoping that as many of us as possible will participate in this. Thank you. Somebody had 9. Somebody says 2. So Vereen, well, so all I'm asking is how many? So somebody said 3. Somebody said 1, 8, 4. Right. 3. Okay. So keep it coming and just let me know how many of these are you familiar with in terms of different technology trends that are currently upon us in 2024. And my session today was around launching a tech career. Oh, something has gone wrong. Oh, yeah. My session today was around launching a tech career or launching your tech career. And I wanted to drop a couple of thoughts around that trend. But first of all, when we talk about tech careers, what are we talking about? When we are talking about tech careers, particularly in Bincom Dev Center, we are not talking about only the technical side of technology. We're also talking about the business side of technology as well. Now, what I did was I pulled up this slide. For some of us that are familiar, you would know that I'm co-founder of a platform called Emigrate Tech Visa, where we help people discover technology visas from different parts of the world, where countries of the world have realized that technology is the new oil, and they've made visas available to say, if you can show yourself as globally attractive, if you can show yourself as globally attractive, particularly in the field of technology, we would like you to move to our tech economy for you to live, for you to build stuff, for you to bring your innovation, bring your ideas, bring your family, bring your dependents and all into our economy, because we know that we will be better off as an economy. And so one of those visas is the UK Global Talent Visa, which is also known as the Tech Nation Visa. And what I did was I pulled this slide from that visa in terms of some of the examples of technical skills that they would like to move into the UK economy, and some of the business skills they would like for people to bring into the UK economy as well. And so when we are saying tech, we're talking about the field of technology. You don't have to be a programmer. Yes, programmers, as of today, have better opportunities than some other skills. That's true. But that's even only as of today, because with the trends of something like generative AI, some of you are familiar with ChatGPT, but please bear in mind, if you should be following this trend regardless of what industry you are in, whether you are in tech or you are not in tech, you should be following the trends of AI, because it's a disruptor the same way the internet was a disruptor of different fields many years ago. It's a significant one. Please pay attention. But one of the fields that Gen AI is disrupting is actually software development. Bots are now being created that can do the function of junior developers. Bots are being created that can actually write code. And I'm not talking about things that could happen in the future. I'm talking about things that are currently happening. And so the relevance of junior developers in the technology industry will start reducing. This is one of my predictions. And so if you're a junior developer in the room, one of the things you want to do very quickly is build up your skill and quickly become a senior developer. It's not about time. It's not about the fact that, oh, I've spent 5 years developing. That's not really what makes a senior. It's about the level of skill, experience, and exposure that you do have in the industry. But I'll come to that. I was just talking about, this is the layout. These are some skills that you should be familiar with. These are some skills that are in high demand in many economies of the world. On the technical side, you would find things like DevOps and SysOps. SRE is something you should be familiar with. And there are several of them. Cybersecurity, that's been mentioned a lot during this conversation today. UI, UX, user experience, and even user design, user-centric design. Those are things that are skills that are in high demand today. And many of them will continue to be in high demand for foreseeable future. One of the ones that may start dropping, not may, will start dropping, is graphics design. And one of the reasons for that is still generative AI. Because now you can just type a prompt and the AI tool will design what you are looking for. It will give you 4 options and you can pick one. You can pick one and it can build up on that option as well. Some of you heard music that I produced in January 2024, and many of you do not realize that all of that was done by AI, an AI tool called Sora. So, and so that's in terms of writing music, it wrote the lyrics, it wrote everything about that song, and it was a very nice song, Rising Star. Right. On the business side, though, that is also still going to be relevant for the foreseeable future, maybe even more relevant. Product management, project management, service management, marketing, sales, enterprise sales particularly, and so many other sectors like that. This has been on for a while, so hopefully you've located yourself here. But please don't forget that these are just examples. This was not in any way designed to be an exhaustive list of roles and skills. In fact, a new skill that is coming up, and I believe that there will be degrees on this, is something called prompt engineering. Sorry, I'm talking a lot about AI and you can probably see my bias on that. I'm talking a lot about AI today. Prompt engineering is becoming a field. I believe that in the future, people will start doing degrees in something called prompt engineering. If you've never heard of it, just Google it. It's simply about how do you prompt an AI tool for it to give you the best results? How do you write the right query, the right questions, such that it will give you the best possible result? And in some cases, they try to jailbreak the AI tools. Jailbreak in the sense that many AI tools have guardrails around ethics, around freedom of speech, around ways in which they don't want that AI tool to be misused. Sometimes the designers are overzealous. Sometimes they are right to have done so. But the point is that this is an emerging trend. And that's just one out of several other trends. And so ask yourself a question. How come you are not familiar with those trends that I showed earlier? And these are a lot more that you will find simply by saying trends in technology on Google. There are several of them. Augmented reality, virtual reality is another one that I believe is going to change the way we fundamentally work, because it's a new form factor. It's a new form factor where you wear VR glasses, and instead of you investing in 4 monitors, you just have that one VR glasses and you have several different monitors and you can control a lot of things in the virtual reality space. And also augmented reality. These are emerging trends. These are trends that will change the way we work and the way we live. It's in your best interest to be familiar with what is going on so that you are positioned or you are continuously positioning. Whether you're a newbie, beginner, intermediate, or advanced, you should be positioning yourself. At the very least, you should be looking at how can this tool help what I currently do or what I want to continue doing in the future. Recently, we started building an app for Emigrate Tech Visa, and it will surprise you that what we were looking for really was an AI platform that will write all of the code at once. Many of the AI platforms are not yet there, but they will get there very soon. They will get there very soon. I actually tried a number of them that did well, but it just didn't do exactly what I was looking for. But we ended up with a tool that was like a no-code platform that built the app. So we didn't need React developers. We didn't need backend developers because there was simply one no-code platform that could actually drag and drop, make some changes here. It's good that you have some technical knowledge so that you can make some settings in the background. But at the end of the day, it was just drag and drop, and then boom, we have an app. This is the world you live in 2024. I'm not talking about what is going on in the future. And so, seeing that landscape, the question is, what should you be doing to launch a tech career? And if you're already in the field of technology, maybe the question is, what should you be doing to continue to stay relevant, assuming you're advanced? Or what should you be doing if you're at the intermediate level that you will be able to get to the level you need to get to very quickly? There are three key pillars, and some of us may be familiar with this because we do have programs. Bincom Dev Center, which is another company I'm co-founder of, actually is founded on these three key pillars. And I'll just talk about those key pillars: learn skills, gain experience, and gain exposure. The speakers that spoke before me have said a few things along these lines as well. And I'm just going to try and collate those into these three pillars. Learn skills. One of the things that we would advise, and I advise people, is that choose a path and stick to that path. And somebody mentioned it earlier as well, which is the fact that because there are so many different things going on and so many different trends and so many different changes and so on, sometimes you could get into this never-ending cycle of you start learning something, you don't master it, but there's something new. Then you go and learn that something new. You still haven't mastered that one, then there's something new as well. For some of you, you will see that trend with the number of tutorials you have done that you have left uncompleted. You would see that from the number of plural sites or Udemy and so on that you've started, but never actually completed. Where in a microwave generation, microwave in the sense that a number of people see a 30 seconds video about a topic and they think they know everything there is to know about that topic. It's actually called the Dunning-Kruger effect. You can Google it. Microwave generation. Some people say it's a Gen Z problem, but truly I don't think so anymore, because even people my age and people older than me are exhibiting the same challenges. I think the technology we have had so far has changed the way we live. I have a similar issue, right, with social media and all of that, dopamine effect and all. You wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is pick up your phone and you find out that you spend like 30 minutes on your phone, not being productive. Those are things that has changed. But the question is that, are you using that for your own benefit? Why don't you rig it such that that 30 minutes that you spend, you would actually spend it learning more about this area where you have said you want to be the best. You want to be an expert. Why don't you set up your life and the things around you such that you are using all of those things to learn skills? Of course, you should really be passionate about technology to even start that journey. Be passionate about technology. That really should be where it should start from. And the truth is that even if you are not passionate, build that passion because you've chosen to be in this field. Or maybe you want to choose a different field. Nowadays, a lot of the things you need to learn are available at no cost to you. You may need to pay for certificates, but what you need to learn, it's available for free. YouTube, even a bunch of Harvard courses are available for free if you just know the right places to go look for them. So these things have been democratized. They are there for you. The question is, are you spending the time that you need to build on the skills that you need? You may have transferable skills as well, particularly for those in the room who you've been doing other things. Maybe you've been a lawyer for years, and then you're now moving into tech, right? Pay attention to legal tech. That's a field, that's an industry, particularly the business side of tech. Or you've been in banking for years, right? And you're now moving to tech. Pay attention to fintech. It's a combination of financial and then technology, financial technology. That's what fintech is at the end of the day. Energy tech, sustainable technology, right? So what I'm trying to say is that it's ubiquitous in terms of how technology has shaped the world. You will find your place in the field if you are looking. But please and please and please, even though what I'm saying is that no knowledge is lost, you can combine many things together, because one of the things we try to say to people is that know something about everything and know everything about something. So basically build expertise in an area in the field of technology, but know something about everything else as well. That's the way we ask you to learn within the Bincom ecosystem. And even though I'm saying no knowledge is lost, avoid being captain local host. I'm running out of time, and so I'll just jump to the next two pillars: gain experience and then gain exposure. Gain experience, one of the things we've advised and we keep advising is that learn by doing. That's really the best way to learn. And I'll use the example because I do interviews. I do a lot of interviews on behalf of organizations. I'm paid to help organizations hire talents in the field of technology. That's one of the things I do. And very quickly, when I speak to someone, I'm able to tell, and I don't think I'm a genius or anything like that. I'm able to tell if this person only has theoretical experience or they've actually done the things that they are talking about. And many of my peers, many of the people in my industry, many of the people that I know also are able to. Yeah, a few people can bobo their way through. Bobo basically fake it till you make it. A few people may be able to do that, but a lot of times it smells when this person is only about theory, no practical knowledge. Learn by doing. Find the opportunity to be able to build by learning, building on your experience by actually doing stuff. You may not be able to predict the kind of opportunity you'll be able to get. Sometimes you may be able to volunteer somewhere. Sometimes you may be able to pay to actually be in an apprenticeship program. That's how the Igbos used to learn back in the days in Nigeria, right? You would pay a boss to actually teach you over a 1 year or a 2 year period. And we actually built the Global Tech Program. That's the Bincom Global Tech Program. I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point during this session. We built it on that model. So yeah, you could use that. You could find a friend. You could do an internship. Whatever it is at the newbie and beginner stage, you want to ensure that you are learning by doing. At the intermediate stage, at that point, you may want to volunteer your own skills so that you build a broad experience base. So yes, you probably have your day job, but then you are also volunteering somewhere else. And that is helping you also see, oh, aside from this stable place where I am, where I may not be able to experiment, I may not be able to change anything on the server as a DevOps engineer, because if I change anything on the server, that's a priority one issue. That's a downtime for real life customers. You may be able to volunteer somewhere else where they can't afford your skills, but you are able to help them. At the same time, you are helping yourself. Gain experience. Figure out ways in which you can optimize what you already know and build on it. Practice, practice, practice. Ensure that you are not static, even if you are at the advanced level in the field of technology. Because guess what? The technology we knew 5 years ago has changed. Certainly the technology we knew 10 years ago, it has changed. it has changed drastically. Yes, I spent a bit of time talking about AI, but that's not the only thing that has changed our sector. New roles have come into place. Agile that we all talk about now, when I started in the field, there was no, I wasn't familiar with any project management methodology, but then when I started getting familiar with project management, it was waterfall. In fact, the name was not called waterfall, it was just project management. That was project management. Now we know it as waterfall to differentiate from agile, right? We do know that, so excuse me for a moment. Apologies, I need to charge my computer. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, we're good now. We know it as waterfall now, but agile is less than 20 years old. I can't remember exactly where, I think 2006 or so. That's when a couple of people just went to an hotel somewhere in Canada and said, we don't like the way project management is being done. Let's change the way it's being done. And they wrote the Agile Manifesto. I can't remember the date, but the people who were in product management, hopefully you know the Agile Manifesto and when it became a thing in the industry. And that changed the way we now do project management. If anybody is being interviewed, even at CTO level, and you are not familiar with Agile, you will not be hired in the technology industry. You will not be. That's the truth, because the entire world, even though Agile has its issues, the entire world has recognized that this is a better way of doing things than what used to be before it. Several things has changed, even in your own subsector as well. As an advanced person in the field of technology, are you paying attention? And that leads me to the gain exposure. Because you need to be exposed to those changes. You need to be exposed to what has changed and how those things has changed. But exposure for me is in two ways as well. You yourself as a person, your own profile, you need to build the exposure of your profile to your industry. Does your industry know you? And don't tell me that I'm only 3 months experience in my industry so far. Does your industry know you? Because even with 3 months of experience, you can start telling people on your social media, and that's one of the things that is now democratized as well. You can start telling people on your social media to say, oh, I've now learned how A plus B is equal to C, or I've now been able to install Apache on my local host, or whatever it is. And then people in your ecosystem, people around you start saying that, oh, this person is building skill. Guess what? Would you be at that level in 2 years' time? No. And if they are looking for somebody of 2 years of experience in your knowledge track, guess who they are going to look for? You. Build exposure. Mentor someone. And of course, find a mentor as well. With 1 year, 2 years of experience, yes, you can say I'm still a beginner in my field. But the truth is there's somebody else who is just trying to start at the newbie level. You can help that person. You can help that person. That person is still struggling how to install WAMP. That person still doesn't understand what is Postman. But you already know that, oh, this is how you can call an API and this is how you can test an API and all of those kind of things. You can mentor that person. It doesn't have to be a structured program. If you're at an advanced level, though, I would advise that in mentoring, do that in a structured program. The reason is because you may need those evidences for other things in the future. I talked about what I currently do, and one of the things I'm currently focused on, which is the Emigrate Tech Visa. And one of the ways you are able to show yourself as globally attractive, guess what, is by giving evidence of people you've mentored and how well they have done in their field. Interesting. And that is the world we live in at the moment. But you have to find a mentor as well. You have to find a mentor to help you, because there are things and pathways which you may not know. And they may be able to say, don't do it this way, do it this other way. This is my last slide, and this is just to conclude. Think about how you are building your tech career. Avoid those at the top. Number one, don't be Captain Local Hosts. where you have a lot of skills, you've learned all sorts of things, but there's no experience, there's no exposure. It's a problem. Don't be that outdated person that has experience of how things were done 10 years ago, and you don't have modern skills, and you are certainly not exposed to how things are now done. And don't be that person that we find in every conference, we find in every tech event. But then when we ask you to sit down and be hands-on to do something, you can't do anything because you actually don't know. You actually don't have those skills. What you have is just a lot of talk and no actual skills. Don't be those people. Build an optimal career. And don't say, oh, I'm going to spend 1 year building skill, and then I will spend later, I will now start doing all these other things. What we believe you should be doing, and that's a mistake as well. We believe is a huge mistake. Be doing all three at the same time. As you're learning skill, beginning experience, beginning exposure, level 1. Do the same at level 2. Do the same at level 3, so that you are building a balanced tech career. We believe that's the most optimal way of doing it. Hopefully this has been helpful. Think about how you are building your career, and this will help you in launching a tech career. Thank you so much. One more thing. This is actually my first time personally of using this logo. I would like to know what you guys think. Something you should know is that this logo was actually generated initially by AI, and that was given to a team of designers that then optimized it to what it is at this point. That's the world we now live in. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you so much for that session. Thank you so much, sir. I hope everyone learns a lot. I mentioned earlier that this session is meant to be as interactive as possible, which we already started part of the interaction early enough. So please, it's time to take your questions, your contributions, and I'll be reading out some questions in the chat. But I would like, if you have any question that you feel you should ask rather than just typing it, please raise your hand and I'll call you to ask your questions. But I want to be seeing questions in the chat, please. So please ask as many questions as possible. Any question, any contribution from anyone?
Yes. Hello, I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead. I can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So, my first question is to the first speaker, because I love the way she ended this thing, because I've been part of I have that problem of not minding my health, of overworking myself. But that advice really helps a lot. And mental health also really matters. And the second question is to the second speaker about the AI. My question is, I'm just 2 months apprenticeship level at Bincom. Is when you talk about prompt AI, is it going to at one point be inserted into our work curriculum, or we get to maybe junior level, associate level? I don't know, because I just want to have more insights about, because I've been hearing a lot about prompt engineering, and I know that's how the work is evolving at the moment. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so the first question, you said it was for Mrs. Comfort. So, can you ask that again so she can respond to it before we go to the second question?
Okay, I just want to ask about the health issue, especially mental health. When you overwork yourself to the limit that you don't even know when to stop, and it's just cause a lot of issue to your personal health. So that's the question I'm asking. Like, she has already given me the best answer I want, but
Yeah.
there's this issue of tutorial help where you are trying to get over things, but you can't figure it out, and you don't want to move on to the next tutorial, and you won't even get to what you are looking for. Maybe the way is to avoid this, and how I can just overcome these issues. That's my first question.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm the one, but I couldn't hear you for a bit.
Okay, let me take it from there. I think I
Okay,
addressed the things
it's
that I was
on.
trying to say. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thank you for that question. And I would answer it in two um, phases. The first aspect I would like to look into is I mentioned something about boundaries. Set your boundaries right. Set your time. Your time management skill should be, you should work on it. Give yourself time. Then if you have things to do that calling your attention based on the time you set for yourself and your target, make sure that you don't go out of that time. One, and if anything is crossing, it's going to affect the boundaries you've made. If there is a way you can adjust it to make sure that it fits into what helps you balance, work-life balance is very, very important. Now, if you said you're into apprenticeship and probably you have some other plans outside your program. I know that each program is being designed considering your mental health also. So you must have a time frame for a particular thing, a time frame that is not going to affect your workaround. If you have external things that is going to interrupt any of your program, you need to make sure you streamline them to make sure that it doesn't interrupt each other. Whichever one you need to skip and let your host or your coordinator get to know about, okay, I am having this, is clashing with this, within this period I am having, this is supposed to be my break time and things like that. Negotiate it out, or you find a way to balance it to be time conscious. That's what I would. Sometimes you get carried away. Too much of everything is bad. So you get. Just need to finish this thing. I need to write this code. You get carried away. You're enthusiastic somebody. So you just need to put a boundary. Put a boundary and set your time. Thank you. Did I answer your question?
Yes,
Yeah.
you did. Thanks.
Okay, I think Mr. Badi wants to add to that.
No, I think you've covered it very
Okay.
well. I was going to take the second question. Can I go ahead, Jay?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. So for the second question, let me give an analogy, and then I'll use that analogy to answer your question. So this is the analogy. We are all speaking English on this call at the moment, right? But did you know that there are people that go to school for 5 years to study English? And then when they finish that 5 years in school studying English, first degree, they will then do a master's in English, another 1 or 2 years. And then there are people that have PhD in English, right? But at a basic level, we are all speaking English. This is the analogy then. At this basic level, we all need to learn how to use GPT, Gen AI, and so on. All of us. You don't have a choice because you will not be optimal in your career if you don't learn how to use it. It will help you make presentations faster. It would help you write code faster with the likes of Copilot. Back in the days, if you needed to fix an issue on your code, what you needed to do was copy the snippet of the code and go look for the answer on Stack Overflow, Stack Exchange, on Google, and so on. AI has now learned all of those things. And if you know what you are looking for and you know how to ask the right questions, it can fix it for you. It can write functions for you that will do stuff you should learn how to do that, because all of a sudden things you will have done in 2 weeks, you can do it in 1 hour, right? We should all learn that basic level. What I was then saying about degrees in prompt engineering is that there are people that will now take it further. I don't know if you have that interest. I don't know if it's something you are looking at building upon, right? But there are people that will take it further into the first degree, second degree, master's, PhD, and so on. And that's what I'm saying, that because this field is so wide, and don't forget that part of the things we should all know at a basic level is the risk of AI. One of them is hallucination, right? At least 20% of the time, AI will give you the wrong answer as of today. It will give you the wrong answer, and it will give you confidently the wrong answer. If you didn't know enough, you wouldn't know that it was the wrong answer. And people have been known and been caught out using those wrong answers. In one of the sessions I had recently, it's in public domain anyway, where a lawyer asked AI to say, tell me about cases that has to do with this type of case I'm trying to do. And the AI generated 4 fake cases for him, or make a couple of fake cases for him. And he went to present that in court, right? Luckily, the guy didn't lose his license, but he was sanctioned heavily by his, The point I'm making is, as of today, just know the basics of AI, know how to generate an image using AI, know how to generate text using AI, know how to ask ChatGPT the basic questions. In the future, you may also say, I want to go further in this and understand how these things are built, go under the hood. Same way where everybody drives cars, but not everybody knows how the engine works. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You really answered my question.
Thank you so much for that answer. That was a good one. Okay, so Samuel, I've seen your hands up, so I would leave the floor to you so you can ask your question.
Yeah, good afternoon, everything. Actually, most of the let me say part of what I wanted to ask about has actually been touched. So, like, I think basically my question will go into the second speaker. I want to ask, because you made mention of like being a junior dev might be obsolete, and for people like me, I'm just saying from my perspective that it's just diving into tech learning the back end engineering part. Like, I don't know. My question is how to, like, should I say, to make a structured environment to like be progressive about it. And also like to add like the aspect of the getting passionate about it. For example, personally, I don't know, but personally I just feel like the dev community itself is like is a job opportunity. Like the job opportunity in tech is actually wide. So like now trying to like should I say build a passion to make the drive. I don't know if what I'm saying, if you get what I'm trying to say. But in essence it's just like to just know that okay, well, this is what I love and how you can like bring about it to like work with tech. I don't know if the question is well explanatory.
Yes, it is. So I'll take it from, you've asked 3 questions. I understood these as 3 questions. First question is, junior developer may become obsolete, but you cannot become a junior developer without, you can't become a senior developer without first being a junior developer, right? There will always be room for senior developers in organizations. There may be a significant reduction in the number of juniors in any project moving forward. That's a prediction. So this is in fact, this is Bade's prediction, right? But it's based on evidence and trends that I currently see. But there's no way you can become a senior if you don't first become a junior developer, right? And so for us, from a Bincom Dev Center perspective, that's a huge opportunity for Bincom Dev Center, because what we do at Bincom Dev Center, one of them is to help people become seniors very quickly, or at least intermediate very quickly, right? That's what we do, and that's what Bincom Dev Center is structured to help achieve. So it's an opportunity from that perspective to say, let's keep investing in this because we will become more relevant to help people get to that next level faster, right? And I'm saying this in public domain. Second question was about passion, right? To say, There are so many different parts, or this is how I understood your question. If that wasn't your question, please correct me when I've landed with the answer. To say there are so many different parts of technology, and now I'm not sure anymore if I'm even passionate about the part of technology that I've picked. The good news is that you're already in the technology field, and it is not hard to switch. It isn't hard to switch at all. You may be in the technical side of tech, and then you can switch to the business side of tech. You could be in a particular part of tech to say, oh, I'm a software engineer. Now I want to become a DevOps engineer. In fact, for you to be a DevOps engineer, you need to know basic scripting language. You cannot be a DevOps engineer without knowing some scripting, right? That's programming, but just the scripting aspect of programming, right? But you could also say, oh, I'm a DevOps engineer, but I'm not sure I'm passionate about this anymore. Maybe I want to now delve into product management, right? The truth is that after a while, as you grow in your career, you have two choices anyway as a software engineer. You have a choice of becoming a principal engineer, to say you're a principality in that knowledge. That's a joke, but many people may not understand that. Or you could be like an engineering manager, which means you no longer code every day. What you do now is you manage people that code every day, right? So at that point, you are no longer really a developer. You have that development experience because you are able to build on it, but then you will be able to now do management as part of you growing in your career. But all of those choices will come at the advanced level, really, not at the beginner, intermediate level, and so on. My point is that you can build that, you can then take a look to say, what am I passionate about? The only risk, I said, and I would say this again, is that don't get into that cycle of, I pick this one, I don't finish it, I pick the next one, I don't finish it, I pick the next one, I don't finish it. In a Bincom setting, we only allow you to switch when you have gotten to a certain stage. And then at that point, we know that you know enough to be able to decide at that point that, oh, this is what I want to switch to. And then what you are switching to, you should not be planning to switch again. So if you are switching, you are probably switching once and that's it, that kind of thing. So just be careful around that. In terms of how do I build passion if I'm not passionate, just continue and continue and continue and continue until a point where you start finding that some of these things have become interesting. Part of the reason why you may lose passion is because of it being difficult. So just take the next step, take the next day, take the next step. At some point, you find that these things are now easier. These things are now like second nature. These things are now, I want to know more. I hope that helps. And I hope I answered your question as well.
Yes, I want to just quickly chip this in also, based on the response. For example, now, okay, if I'm to like take a tutorial on, let's say, backend engineering Node.js now, how to be more involved in the community such that, okay, I'm actually facing a difficulty in a particular course, then I don't need to be in a tech ecosystem whereby you receive support, because there was a period of time I was stranded in the engineering. So like due to those around my community, so they were mainly back-end people. So I had to just take the switch because in that way I could receive more help from them.
Yeah. What's the question? I didn't get that question. So
The
you ended
question,
up back-end engineering because the community you had was back-end engineering.
no, what I'm trying to say, I ended up in back-end because when I started off taking tutorial from front-end engineering, HTML, CSS, so it got to a stage, so I was looking quite rough, like trying to get a solution, getting way forward. I think it was about when I started taking courses on React, I faced a lot of that issue. So while asking around, I later got to like meet people around me that were also into the tech community, which were mainly backend engineers. So they introduced me into backend engineering, which for a start, I enjoyed doing. But over the advantage I'm just trying to bring out is that over the time, whenever I get issue, I easily reach out to them. Like at least they give me like tips to overcome some challenges. So my question now is like, how do we now, like you said, if we have issues, challenges. to continue daily on that challenge, then it gets easier day by day. So my question is this, like, how to progress, like even when you are stuck, because you don't should I say the drive has to be personal to you, because for example, if when they are not around, like the drive that I will need to work on my own, like to keep moving, like to keep learning, like while on the job. What I'm trying to say, like to learn an hands-on experience, not just like watching tutorial videos, because you watch a particular course, you study, okay, this is the way to do things. Once you are done, to pick up a new, like, okay, what's the next step to take? And even if you are taking it, if it is the right one, and to overcome some issues that you might also, it's like a growth track to just like get better. No, I'm very sorry for taking your time.
No, not at all. And it's a fantastic question from my perspective. So I'm going to answer in three ways. Two of them are Bincom related. One is not Bincom related. So the first one, let me start by advertising Bincom's program. So Bincom Dev Center solves this problem that you have just identified, right? Because Bincom Dev Center has created a structured program that helps you to learn skill, gain experience, and gain exposure. So we have an entire structure with different engagement types for you to be able to solve the problem you have identified. The premium program of that structure is something called the Bincom Global Tech Program that basically looks at that problem you've just identified and then builds a stepping stone to help you get to the intermediate level within the shortest possible time. So that's the first answer. Second answer is that recently, Bincom has actually been building communities around knowledge tracks. So we recently launched I don't even know if we've launched it, but we've started the Bincom Software Engineering Club, Bincom Design Club, and the Bincom Tech Network generally, the Bincom Tech Clubs, and so on. And that is also to help solve that problem for people who are not necessarily in Bincom Dev Center, the organization, but are connected to Bincom, right? So these are free communities where you can find other people in that knowledge track. You can interact with them, you can engage with them, and they could help you. So whether or not they are engaged within Bincom or not, we are building a community around each knowledge track. And we also have general communities where you can ask some of those questions and you can get people to guide you. You can find a mentor, you can mentor somebody else, you can answer questions, you can share resources and all of those kind of things. So this is something we've been building for about 2 years as Bincom Tech Network on Slack. But recently this year, we actually started building it on WhatsApp, seeing that a number of people are more familiar with WhatsApp than Slack. So we have those communities in both areas. So that's the second answer. Third answer, which I said is not Bincom, is that Bincom is not the only organization that does those two things that I've mentioned. If you really, really need it, you will find it. Start by just doing a Google search. It may not come in a platter of gold. Some places you may not get paid, which is why I mentioned during my presentation, something like if you find an opportunity to volunteer somewhere, maybe you want to volunteer there. Because if you spend that 1 or 2 years, and make sure you are doing it in the right place though, so don't end up serving tea for 1 year and think that all of a sudden you become globally attractive in tech. Please bear that in mind. But there are several opportunities like that. Sometimes MTN does stuff like that from time to time. That's in Nigeria. Some large organizations do that. Google, there are communities around Google called the Google Developer Network or something like that. Some of you can help me drop that in the chat that you can join. And these are all places where people are also trying to help. Open source communities do exist. So if you're interested in React, for example, there's actually React networks around you. And all I'm saying is that those touch points are there, right? And it's up to you to then go look for it. Hopefully that was helpful.
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, so I would also like to make a contribution to the response of Mr. Badiki. And thank you, Mr. Badi, for that. So talking about the motivation for you, the motivation also, you need to, before you dive into the career path you have chosen, something motivated you to be there. And how can you maintain that motivation? The community Mr. Barry talked about, you also need to participate. The participation is very, very important. When you participate, when you contribute, you respond to messages, you converse with other team members, you would definitely, one way or the other, because you guys are speaking the same language, you would, it will give you some kind of energy. And aside that, have it at the back of your mind. The more you are productive, when you are productive in the career path you have chosen, this also will serve more like a fuel for you because you've been able to achieve something at some point. It will be a form of encouragement for you, not just I just have to keep doing what I'm doing, and whether I achieve results or not is not something to you. You should make it something important that you need to be productive, result oriented. That also can be like a zeal for you. Now, what's one of those things that I also mentioned that would affect someone's running a particular knowledge track is if you are not, you need to study yourself before you choose this career path. Do you have the strength to handle what this career path is going to needs from me? If you have it, then the community, the productivity should be your fuel, something that is going to fuel you to help you to keep motivating you on that career path. But if you notice that your strengths and weaknesses doesn't really help in that career path you chose, then you need to have a double think. And that is why the options of you can switch from one department after you've studied something, you've learned some things, and you see that you cannot moving to the other one would be an option for that. So that's just what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that answer, Ma. Okay, please send your questions in the chat. We'll read them out so that we can um speed up this session. We're already past time. Okay, so there's a question here, one for Mr. Bade and one for Mrs. Comfort. And I'll start with Mr. Bade. How can someone continue learning? Um, sorry, I can't see. Okay, please, if you've seen the message.
Yeah, I've sent the message. I can read it for you. How
I
can
can't
someone
see my
continue
screen clearly.
How can
It's
someone
dark.
continue
Please,
learning?
can someone help read out the question in the chat?
Okay, can you hear me now, Joy?
How can someone continue learning and developing their skills throughout their tech career? That was a question directed to Mr. Badi.
Yeah, thank you for that. And can you hear me though? Because I'm not sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Yeah. Good. So I think it's just to be intentional. I mentioned a couple of things when I was talking, and for the sake of time, I think it's just to be intentional at every single level. For example, yes, I may be slightly ahead of in my career than a number of people in the room today, but I also have to be intentional in terms of building my career. As I said, because we know that technology is one of those ones where you are sentenced to learning throughout your life, then you need to make sure you have the right structure to ensure that you are able to learn. In some cases, you may want to go for structured courses. In some cases, you may want to set up your life in such a way that some of those learnings comes to you. And one of the ways I do that is because I subscribe to tech blogs and I get emails every day about things that are going on in the technology world. I don't look at it every day, but those things, I get them every day. in terms of information. I read technology news and so on. I get curious about technology, and then I go check to see what's going on there. And then I realize, oh, somebody has done something that changes something and so on. I feel bad about some things because Bitcoin, for example, I actually knew about Bitcoin back in the days where you could mine a Bitcoin in maybe less than 10 minutes. I had an old computer then where I actually mined Bitcoins, but those things were useless then. Now a Bitcoin is over 50,000. Well, I don't know how much it is today, but the point is that just stay relevant, stay informed about technology is a good place to start. And then for those that you feel that is relevant to you, then spend time to actually build more in terms of the knowledge. That's my advice. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. That was a very good one. So Ma'am Comfort, the last question is for you, and the question is, can you give us some tips of effectively networking with people in the tech industry, especially for introverts?
Okay. Thank you for that question, and really, you directed the question to. I would say I would categorize myself to be an introvert. Should I say an ex-introvert? Okay, so I was kind of introverted, and I at first find it difficult to. I have this crowd phobia. I have um, um, yeah, crowd phobia. Let me just put it like that, like crowd fright. And it took some kind of determination to get out of this. If you want to be a techie, you need to know how to talk. You need to know how to communicate and mingle with people. So it's a gradual process, but it first starts with you. Have this determination that, yeah, you're coming out, you want to talk. Whatever the result is at first, you would not get it perfect at first, but you need to keep improving on yourself. Okay, so I would say you join community. You can just start by attending seminars, attend some lectures, be there, be an observer, observe how people do things at first, see the way people communicate, make friends. Some people, you are standing on your own, they will definitely want to come and talk to you, have some conversation. And from there, you would not just snub them. Yeah, so because you are speaking the same language, they are speaking your technical language, you need to reply them, okay, you are this, you are that, okay, and blah, blah, blah. You will make some mistakes. Just have that at the back of your mind, because most of us introverts, we are so conscious of that mistake. Let me not say what I'm not saying. Maybe I made a mistake, I use a slang and it's not supposed to be that. So don't be afraid that you make mistakes. You definitely make mistakes, but you need to learn from that mistake. I remember there was a mistake I made. I was trying to give a lecture on project management and things like that. So I was mixing things up, and I was trying to speak confidently. But eventually, after the discussion, I know that I need to go back to my drawing board to check. Okay, there was a question I was asked, and I need to go and research and realize, oh, you spoke rubbish. And moving forward, if such question come up again, I would never say such thing. So as an introvert, have it personally that I want to start talking. I want to start building a network. I want to start having my own community. Then that's that for seminars. At some point, some seminars and trainings you'll be attending or observing, you might be grouped to do some things. While doing that, your group members, your team members try to, their smaller circle than the bigger circle. Try to communicate with them, exchange numbers, even if you're this kind of person that doesn't initiate conversations. Some of them they can bring up something in the nearest future and be like, let's work on this project together. One of those ways you can also build your network is that. Also, Mr. Bade mentioned about a community Bincom Dev Center has on WhatsApp and some on Slack. You can leverage on that, join this community while you're observing. When there is any conversation, even if it's just a statement today, you added your own contribution, just one line, tomorrow, 2 lines, like that, like that, like that. Recognition, you start building your network, you start knowing people, okay, this is what this person said, this is this person's area of concentration, and things like that. You might need your help, each other's help at some point in time. So just build your network with communities, connect with professionals, join online events, join physical events. Events are very, very important for techies. Very, very important. And I believe this helps. Let it start from here.
Thank you so much for that answer, Mrs. Comfort. I think we've all learned a thing or two. There's one more question here. I think this will be the last question we will take. And the question is, please, it's for Mr. Bade. Please, I got introduced to tech as an AI engineer. This opened me up to data science and data analysis, which I love to do as it aims to meet and drive business decisions. How how am I into Python development, which is new? And I am wondering if it's off based on what you said. Can you advise me if I should stick to data science and data analysis for effective business decision making, or Python development will aid me in achieving the goal of becoming a consultant in supporting business decision? I'm still trying to find my footing as a Python developer and good in data analysis and growing in data science, which I have been in for 2 years now, but I am curious to know more about Python development.
All right. So my understanding of the sector today is if you are going to be a data scientist, you would need to know Python and or R programming language. And so I believe that you're on the right track because what you've done is that you knew a bunch of things from the surface level. Data analysis is taking a look at data and translating it to business needs. Data science is using technology, pandas and libraries, NLP and classifications and so on to translate that data into knowledge. So you're actually in the right track from my own perspective because you need Python, you need a programming language. You need to learn a programming language from scratch, right? And it sounds like what you've picked, or maybe you're in Bincom, because what Bincom will ask you to learn first is Python. And then sometime later in your journey, you will be asked to learn R as another programming language that you should know as well. So maybe that's where Python came from. But you're in the right track because you need Python to build data science models from my perspective. So yeah, that's what you should be doing right now. Once you've learned a programming language, then what you want to be able to do is understand how to build models. And when I say that, I mean from an AI perspective, right? Understand how models are built, do table challenges, look at what is emerging, what are the new problems that needs to be solved. Gen AI is generative AI, and what that is just looking at data and predicting what comes next. So if I say A, B, C, D, hopefully everybody in the room knows the next letter is E that will go. That's what Gen AI basically does, but it does it billions and billions and billions of times. And that's what it's able to do. If you then want to be able to be a data scientist, you need to know how that works. But Gen AI is not the only part of data science. It's just the part that is catching a lot of waves right now. And the waves that is catching right now is something that people have been building for 6-7 years or more than that. So it sounds like you're on the right track from my perspective, but if you like, you can book a short call to have that conversation further and then deep dive further into what specific concerns that you do have. You can also speak with your team lead if you are in Bincom, and they will be able to take that to the next level for you, or speak with your team mentor in Bincom if you're part of Bincom, and they'll be able to help with additional questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So, if you check the chat, there are links to various Bincom tech communities that have been created. So, if you're interested in any of these sessions, you want to build your network, you want to see, find a platform where you can also share your own knowledge too on different knowledge specific tracks. We have different tech communities that you should join. So the link is already here in the chat. And for all those who were able to ask questions, thank you so much for your questions. And I hope that from the response you've gotten here, you would be able to, plan better, navigate properly in this tech landscape. So if you have more questions and you want us to still have this conversation, please join any of these communities and would proceed with these questions. You have a pool of experts in these communities. You also have the speakers in in those communities. So if you have questions there, you can also drop them. We are always ready to answer your questions. So any last minute contribution from our speakers before we call it a day? Hi, Mrs. Comfort. Any last words from you?
Okay. Thank you, Bincom Dev Center. Thank you, the host. And thank you for um, those on this call. And I say congratulations to everyone on this call because I know that one way or the other, we have been able to touch one thing or the other from probably the challenge you think you don't know about it. But like Mr. Bade had said, if you have any further question, and like the host has said, any further question, we are always available for you. In the perspective of HR tech things, if you need any advice, we look forward to some tips. You can always reach out also and how you can continue to grow. I know that Mr. Badi and I mentioned something very similar, which is continue growing. Please, tech is moving on a regular basis. Don't stop moving with tech or else you'll be left behind. And always everything, your career growth, everything starts with you. It starts with your determination. So be determined and don't relent because of what you see as the stress of challenge, the obstacles, the roadblocks. Don't don't withdraw because of that. It is one of those things you need to go through to be able to get to your destination. Thank you, and see you at the top.
Yeah, and thank you for that. The one for me is just to say, please take action.
Thank you so much, Ma. Please, can everyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Joy. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So please, Mr. Bade, any last words from you before we call it a day?
Yeah, so I was just saying that please take action is the one I would just say. We've said a lot of things on this call and a lot of tips here and there. But the truth is that if you don't take action, you are not better off than the person that didn't know these things. So spend some time, maybe just right after this call, because the truth is, by the time you get into a new week, maybe a lot of things would have been added again, and then you may forget. So take action. Take down what are three key takeaways from this that you're going to do. Maybe it's about researching something. Maybe it's about just thinking about your career again. Maybe it's just being revalidating the things that you're already doing, but ensure that you take action with the things that you have heard, learned, or that has occurred to you during this session. We wish you the very best.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. Thank you, ma. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank
All
you so
right, thank you
much.
so much for that. Thank you, everyone, for making out time in our busy schedule to join this particular session. I really appreciate it. I like your cooperation. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Do have a great day and a great weekend.